welcome. I'm the Deadwood Jedi. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. We are going to do a fun Demytha comp because this is my team now. I spent some time yesterday and I built a team that is stupid fun and stupid good. If you guys were watching, I think Hell Hades just put out a video called the Fu Myth, and it is an amazing team. Basically using FuShan, so you don't have to use Deacon, and it just adds another damage dealer and really brings the damage level of the team up. Now, obviously, the speeds are considerably higher, not crazy high, honestly, but high enough where I would say this is a pretty endgame build. You need your Demytha close to 300 speed to really make this work. It's a very, very fast team. So this is more of an end game build. But if you are looking for something other than a Bateater and you want a one-key team, I think this one I'm about to show you is that team. I think this is that new meta clan boss team because it works on Ultra Nightmare, it works on Nightmare, it works on Brutal, it works on Hard. There's nothing that this doesn't work on. It's affinity friendly. And if you bring in the right DPS, you never have to change a champion either, which is pretty phenomenal. So yeah, it's a really great team. The idea was given to me by Short on Skills. I know Saphira, who I believe is in Hell Hades Discord, was the one that first came up with the concept and built the team. I actually just kind of, I got once I heard that this was a thing with FuShan, I was like, ooh, let me try this. And then Skills kind of relayed to me how you can do this by adding a champion like Jintoro. And that is who we are going to bring into this. And boy, oh boy, is this fun, guys. I mean, oh, it is great. It's a really quality team. So I'm going to go through all the champions. I will go through the masteries this time. If you have been wondering what masteries do we use for Demytha comps, you can watch this video. You will see all the masteries. And these are going to be masteries that you can use across the spectrum. It's not going to be very difficult to choose. So anyway, I thought I'd get into it here real quick before we go too far. Shouting out the Patreons. Gotta love those folks. I mean, honestly, I can't do this work without them. And if you guys want account work, that's how you get it. Sign up through my Patreon. Or if you just want to support the website and the stuff that we do, like the calculator, that's another great way to do it. One other way you can support my channel is by subscribing. I was just looking at my numbers. About 60% of you guys watch my videos and aren't subscribed. All you got to do is hit that subscription button. It is a wonderful way to support the work I do. I can't really emphasize that enough. It does a lot for the growth of my channel, my business. It's really, really helpful. So if my work is helping you and Clan Boss, do me a favor, subscribe and you will help me out. So that's a wonderful way just to support the work that we do here. But enough of that. Let's get into it. And I'm going to show you all the champions, all the builds, and then we will do the run. Let's start with Demytha, the fastest champion in this comp. She is the one that makes this worth because she keeps us unkillable. So obviously we need her to go at a 3-1 ratio. Her block damage ability is on a 3-turn cooldown. If we don't have her going in 3-1 ratio, we're not going to be able to keep that up full time, or we'll need to bring in another, unkillable block damage champion. Taking 3 attacks before the clan boss takes 1 is extremely hard. We have to go really, really fast. So, the speed that we have her, not only do we have speed boosters and speed auras, but we have her going at 292 speed. There's a little bit of leeway there for sure. We can go faster, not really slower that much, but this is what we have to do in order to go at these speeds. So this is why this is more of an end game build, because to get to 292 speed is going to be really, really hard. We built her attack up almost 4 times her base attack, which is really, really good, but her base attack is really low. So it's hard to build a lot of attack on this champion, a lot like Underpriest Brogni. It's just very hard to stack it, especially going at these speeds. We were still, however, able to get 100% crit rate, which is pretty fantastic. I'd love to get more crit damage in the build, but honestly, just not super realistic. As far as the masteries go, let's go check those out here. So you can see we have our masteries right here. I'll move myself over. So I went offensive and defensive tree, and there's a specific reason for this. Offensive tree, obviously, we are not going to be able to take any damage. And this, by the way, this is the kind of build you're going to want to do regardless of what team you're running, right? Regardless of, if you're doing a block damage team, it could be a tower team. This is a kind of build you're going to want to do if you're using block damage. The reason why, one, we're going to make sure we have Heart of Glory. we are going to have full health the whole time. So might as well take that, get a little bit extra damage. We're coming down to War Master, and every champion and clan boss is going to take War Master, or you're going to take Giant Slayer. You get a ton of extra damage that way. You have to do that. Have to. I always like taking Life Drinker, so if we ever do go below 50% health, we will help heal up. Obviously, in a block damage team, that's not really important, but it's just kind of habit at this point, and there's no other masteries that would be better off for us in this build. And then we're going to go down the defensive tree, and the reason why in this team, we're not blocking debuffs, we're cleansing them. That means the stun will land every turn, or every time the clan boss tries to stun someone. So we want to come down to deterrence so we can get a chance to get a counterattack in there and get just a little bit extra damage. So this is how I have mine built, and you're going to see all my champions pretty much have this exact same style build. Now let's talk about the second fastest champion in this team, Eris. I mean, she is just a phenomenal champion. Not only do we have to have her going very fast, because she also needs to go in a 3-1 ratio. 261 speed, that's pretty much the bottom line with this comp here. I could not get her to 100% crit rate. I really tried. I couldn't do it. I had to either choose crit damage or crit rate. Normally, I would choose crit rate, but in this build, because I had it there and I'm putting her in a toxic set, which kind of limited my gear choices, I went ahead and stuck with crit damage, and I'm pretty happy with it. 3,600 attack, about over three times her attack is not a bad spot to be at. Like I said, 261 speed. Now, we put her in toxic set, and there's some really good reasons why we're doing that, and I'm really happy with this type of a build for her. It has to do with her skills. She has this passive ability, gives her a counterattack when an ally is attacked. That means every single time she is going to get a counterattack. Doesn't matter if the stun's happening and she's not targeted. Doesn't matter if it's an AoE. She's always going to get that counterattack. And she only has one skill, the speed buff and the cleanse ability. That skill right there is what makes this comp work. She goes at the top of the order and cleanses everything. But because that skill's a non-damage skill, it's the only one she has that isn't damage. Her A1's still a damage skill, and her passive is a damage skill. So she's going to be getting 3 attacks every turn. That gives us a lot of opportunities to place those toxic poison debuffs. So she's actually going to be able to fill a debuff bar by herself, which is pretty phenomenal, putting her in toxic. So I definitely recommend that if you have that luxury. So, okay, offensive tree, we went the exact same as we did with Demitha. No changes. Support tree, however, we did make some changes because we're using that toxic set, and because she's getting the counterattack anyway. There's no point going to defensive tree, and I figured what would be better is to try to land more poison debuffs from toxic and extend them when possible. So this is what I wanted to do. I definitely want to come down to sniper, and I definitely want to come down to master hexer. Lure of Steel is really helpful in trying to make up a little bit extra speed. I think that's going to add 2 or 3 speed to our build. We need it, right? 261 is very fast. Another thing I did, a little trick, I took Steadfast to help dissuade the clan boss from targeting her for the stun. Now, we do have another red affinity champion in here, and having them higher in the turn order should make all the difference in the world, but I didn't want to take any risks, so we took Steadfast, and it works just fine like this. The other one that makes us go is going to be Seeker, another essential champion. You can see the masteries right here, same thing as Demitha, offense and defensive tree. As far as the speeds, though, you can see much slower, 179 speed. I mean, now we're starting to drop the speed down to a reasonable level. We need Seeker's turn meter boost, essential to getting to those 3-1 ratios. Again, 3,700 attack with only 1,000 base attack to build off of. That's really good. We have 100% crit rate, good crit damage. Seeker can do damage for us. So it is really nice to build that on him. FuShan, insane champion, of course, really good. The big thing with FuShan, he's actually pretty underused, but the big thing is he has this 24% all speed aura. It's really nice, and it helps us reduce the total speeds needed to get to these incredible turn ratios. He has decreased defense on this A3. He's got some nice hits on his A1 can hit really hard. We actually turn off his A2 because the A1 hits harder. I did not build him with accuracy. As you can see here, I said, I don't care about accuracy, and the reason why is because of the next champion I'm going to be bringing in. We don't need those debuffs for this particular build, so I could build him all damage. So we stacked his attack. 5,500 attack is excellent. 193 speed is pretty, it's a normal speed level. It's nothing crazy. 100% crit rate, 260 crit damage. This guy's going to do some super damage for us. It's really fun to watch. And then as far as masteries, like I said, offense, defense, exactly like we have with Demitha. No changes there. And then the very last champion, which is the one that makes this build unique, And also is the reason why we don't need accuracy is going to be Jintoro. And Jintoro is phenomenal champion. You probably know this already, but he just is so good. Lays a decreased defense and the weaken, has some amazing abilities on his kit. I don't really feel like we need to go over them all right now, but I actually have a champion spotlight on him if you're curious about how he plays in general. But we built his attack up 5,100. We got him at 154 speed. It's very slow, and I don't even think we have to go this fast. It's really nice. 100% crit rate, 235 crit damage, and 250 accuracy. Obviously, I could still pump those numbers. I'm actually surprised they're this low, and the reason why is because I have him in reflex gear, which is just like, a little bit extra, just a little bit above and beyond, going in with the reflex gear. Still haven't even rolled everything all the way up or glyphed it all. But yeah, reflex gear so we can continue to get cooldowns on his A3 skill. Now, the big thing with him is this A3 skill, this Oni Rage. It puts his decreased defense and weaken. It hits very hard. But the interesting thing is, it will attack 5 times instead of 1 on every 4th use of this skill against the same target in 1 round. So every 4th time he uses that skill, he's going to do this massive $500,000 million damage attack, which is just phenomenal. We want that to happen as often as possible, hence the reflex. Now, there's 2 ways to go about this. He has this blood freeze thing, which will decrease the cooldown of Oni's Rage. It also hits pretty hard. So we can keep that on using the reflex and try and cool down both those skills. So hopefully he's always just, he's either doing his A3 or his A2 the whole time. Doesn't quite work out that way, but hopefully. Or we can lock this skill out, and so the reflex will only affect the Oni's Rage. And so it's just going to be A3, A1, A3, A1, A3, A1. At least that's the hope. I've tested it a little bit on stream. Locking out the A2 actually did more damage, which I was surprised by. But it was one run. There's definitely some RNG in this. There's a lot of RNG in this with the toxic sets, the reflex gear. There's a lot, and it was weak affinity for Jintoro. So not everything was landing all the time. So definitely there's some RNG in there. I do want to test it further. The other thing about him is his passive ability. All turn meter effects are increased by 50% when used on this champion. This is a really interesting thing here. It makes it very hard to program the calculator. So this is actually not programmed in the calculator currently. You can select Jintoro, but this particular passive ability is not active. So just be aware of that. To simulate this, what we did is we used Pitiless One and manipulated his cooldown so that he was getting a significant turn meter boost that was kind of simulating what was happening with Jintoro. I wouldn't say it's perfect, but it was enough to at least get us in tune and make this work and figure it out. So definitely an awesome thing. Really excited to show you guys this. It's a fun build. Again, offense, defensive tree right here. So anyway, that's the team. Those are the champions, the masteries, everything there for you guys. Here's the best part about this. It's full auto right from the start. You can see it. We'll go ahead and I'll show you the how I set it up. We've got FuShan. I just cut out his A2. We've got Demitha. We're going to prioritize using the block damage ability. That's going to be the first skill. And then the extend and the cleanse is going to be the second skill. And we do need to make sure we prioritize these skills. I think there's always some issues sometimes with these champions that have heals on their abilities. They like to prioritize that or they don't use it and stuff like that. So definitely with Demitha, I recommend prioritizing the skills. Same thing with Eris. If her speed ability is if she already has a speed buff, she won't use this skill. So it's really important. You absolutely have to use this as the number 1 skill. You have to prioritize skill priority on that. Doesn't matter what build you're doing. If you have Eris in it, you have to do that. And I really recommend doing the same thing with Demitha. Now, Jintoro, like I said, we're going to turn off that A2, just kind of see what happens. It'll be interesting to see how that works, which one's better. And then with Seeker, we just need to make sure we open with his A1, and then it's perfectly auto. So this is, like I said, a full auto team right here, guys. It's pretty phenomenal. Going to run 50 turns. I ran this against red affinity already today, which is probably the worst affinity because both Seeker and Jintoro are weak to it. We were able to 1-key easily. This is a 1-key team regardless of affinity. It doesn't matter what we're on. And now we get a chance to test this on Void. I've never run this on Void before. I'm really excited to see what this can do. So I'm hopeful we're going to get into that 80, 90 million damage range. That might be a little bit optimistic, but I'm really hopeful we can do that. So you guys can kind of sit back, watch. Let me talk us through the beginning here so you get an idea of how this is working, and then we'll go. So there you go. Got the block damage up right away. Get the speed boost going, and then everybody's just going to take their turns. There goes Secret, the A1, and we get the decreased defense and weaken. That's always key. Now, Jintoro and FuShan are only going at a 2-1 ratio. Same thing with Seeker, actually. The only ones going at a 3-1 ratio are Demitha and Eris. There is that Myth Eris build going at a 3-1 ratio, that ultimate Myth Eris build. It's a really good team. This is just a different style of team. That one needs Deacon, this one doesn't. This one brings in 2 DPS champions, so there's a little bit more flexibility as far as the champions you're using. The other really good thing about this one is we have both FuShan is in this, and he's already red affinity, so we don't have to worry about Eris taking the stun. The stun will go to FuShan instead. And that's a really nice thing to be able to have in there, so we don't have to worry about who's taking the stun and who isn't. Now you can see, we're already getting a bunch of poisons up there. We're already doing a heck of a lot of damage right now. And we got that stun. There goes Eris with the cleanse. As she goes first at the top of every turn, she will cleanse whatever debuffs there are. So it doesn't matter if you're going in Spirit Affinity, doesn't matter if you're getting stunned, she's gonna cleanse those debuffs every single time. That's what makes this affinity friendly and such an amazing, amazing team. I get really excited watching this one because it's something completely new, but it's a very fun team. And if you watch my stuff, you know I don't like unkillable teams. I'm like, whatever. This one is fun. I mean, we got Eris in there. We got a rare champion. That means those advanced quests, don't worry about it. I got it covered, right? This is simple stuff. And it's just really fun. And, you know, get to build your champions as max damage as possible is great. Another thing I'm really happy about is I get to use my FuShan and my Jintoro where I have not found any place to use them before in this game. So I'm really excited to actually get to use them in this. The Jintoro just did his multi-hit there. That was a massive amount of damage, probably close to like 750,000 or something like that. Just a really, really awesome team. This is an incredible squad here. I would wish I had a Turvold so I could try using him instead of Jintoro. I think that would be a massive way to go about this. But there's just a lot of options. There's a lot of options as far as how you're going to want to do these teams. There goes the stun. Let's see if we get any counterattacks. Obviously, Eris always gets that counterattack in there. Doesn't matter if it's a stun or an AoE, she's always going to get that, which is why we're able to keep those poisons up so often, which is just pretty phenomenal. You can see they land almost every time. It's really great. But yeah, it's a wonderful team. Hopefully this is something that interests you guys. Yeah, I have more Demitha comps. Amazingly, they just won't stop. So I will continue to make more of them as they come around. But yeah, hopefully this is, you know, inspiring to you guys, and you guys are going to start thinking about ways you can build different teams and stuff like that. But I'll get off screen. Enjoy the music. Soundstripe links down below if you like it. It's really fun music. I don't know. I always enjoy it. But yeah, we'll see you guys at the other side.
Astern, look the weather in the lee. Blow high, blow low, and so sail we. I see a wreck to windward and a lofty ship to lee, a sailing down along the coast of High Barbary. Then hail her, oh captain, he called o'er the side. Blow high, blow low, and so sail we. Oh, are you a pirate or a man of war? He cried, a sailing down along the coast of High Barbary. cried we. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. Oh no, I'm not a pirate, but a man of war, cried he, sailing down along the coast of High Barbary. For broadside, they fought all on the main. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we, until at last the frigate shot the pirates' mast away, sailing down along the coast of High Barbary. With cutlass and gun, oh, we fought for hours 3. Blow high, blow low, and so sailed we. Their ship it was their coffin, and their grave it was the sea, sailing down along the coast of High Barbary. Sail, look astern, look the weather in the lee. Blow high, blow low, and so sail we. I see a wreck to windward and a lofty ship to lee, sailing down along the coast of High Barbary. 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 Sailing down along the coast of High Barbary.
93 million, unkillable team. Oh, full auto, 93 million. Oh, this is such a great team. Look at that, almost 30 million from FuShan, 28 million off him. Demyth is only doing 6 because, like we said, she just doesn't have that many attacks. Eris putting up 18 with those poisons. Gentoro dropping another 26 million on top. The reflex set on him is really good. And even Seeker dropping in another 15. This team is stupid good, guys. Stupid good. Oh man, I haven't been this excited about a Clan Boss team in a while. This one is super fun, and just like really easy to run, really nice. 20-minute run, so not like, I mean, in terms of Clan Boss runs, nothing crazy time wise. And we hit that one key mark around like turn 37 or something like that. This team is incredibly good. There's a little bit RNG involved with the reflex gear, with the toxic sets, but I mean, come on. The crazy thing about this too, with this Fu Myth team, this is obviously the Gentoro version of that, but the Fu Myth team, it's not just Gentoro that's a great option. There's even better options out there, I think. So I talk about even better options than Gentoro. The champion I would wish I really had right now would be a Turvold, because Turvold brings weaken. FuShan brings decreased defense. And as we know, Turvold hits like a freaking truck. I mean, just ridiculous kinds of damage. He would fit in this team with his crit rate buff would be permanent if you time it out right. So it takes a little bit more getting used to. There would be a stun you'd have to take in the beginning. There's a couple little adjustments, but he fits right into that Fu Myth team, the Fu Myth, really smoothly. It's just a crazy team. But this is awesome. I mean, this awesome damage. And these aren't the only champions you have to use, right? I mean, 4 of them are, right? You want FuShan for his speed aura. You can use somebody else, but you'd still have to get to those true speed values, which are still pretty high, right? So he just makes it a lot more attainable for people. You still need Demytha, obviously. You need Eris, you need Seeker. But that other DPS slot, you have a lot of freedom there, right? You could use a Geomancer, 100% you could. It won't probably put up this kind of damage, but it'd still be a very good team, and probably still a 1-key team even with that. This is not a team that I think can work with Ninja. I wouldn't recommend that. But there's tons of DPS champions that don't have turn meter abilities that would be incredibly good in this comp. Focus on that. If you can bring in a weakened debuff, that's really what you want to do. If you can do that, them and FuShan together will keep the appropriate debuff up. You can get that toxic on Eris. You're going to have a nice full debuff bar for the majority of the fight. It's a really smart, really good comp. A lot of props to Sephira. to Asaf. I'm not super familiar with him, so I'm hoping I'm getting that right. Also to Short on Skills for not only, you know, helping work on this, but bringing it to me. I really appreciate that. Just real great stuff here, guys. So just remember, please hit that subscribe button. Notification bell's always good, so you know when the next video upload is. And yeah, good luck, guys. I really hope you fuse Demytha. She's a heck of a champion. I mean, this team's better than the Bateater. It's better than the Bateater. The overall speeds you need are less. It's easier to build your DPS champions. The qualifications are the same. You still need 4 champions, just like you do in the Bateater. You do need FuShan's a legendary, so that makes it a little bit harder. But I mean, in general, it's the same kind of requirements. Plus, you have a farmable rare in Eris. It's a ridiculous team. Ridiculous team. Yeah, this is fun. There's going to be a lot of fun stuff we're going to be able to build with Demytha, guys. So, you know, start experimenting. If I haven't put the video out, I might not have the speeds for it. Try and find it yourself. Share it with me. I think that'd be amazing. This has been a blast. So hopefully you guys, you know, are enjoying your clan boss runs and playing around with your teams. Until next we meet, I'm the Deadwood Jedi.